The federal government generates billions of records annually, from emails and internal reports to official documents that must be preserved for the public record. Ensuring those records, however, are appropriately captured, managed, and accessible isn't just good practice, it's also the law. Complying with regulations like the Freedom of Information Act and other regulations demands that efficient search and retrieval capabilities are in place at every agency. However, the sheer volume and variety and increasing complexity of these records presents monumental legal and technical challenges. Agencies must not only deal with archiving and retrieving, but also keeping those records available when necessary. And given the wide range of applications, devices, carriers, and encryption methods, adds to the complexity of this record keeping, let alone the challenges of sharing those documents to the public and with other agencies. Here to talk about how technology advances are helping agencies tackle those challenges are Lanika Mamac, General Manager of Public Sector Business for Smarsh. Lanika, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Let me start by hitting you with the first question, if I may, that, federal agencies do face significant hurdles in capturing as well as archiving and retrieving these digital documents, as we were talking about. Can you talk about some of the most common pain points that agencies are continuing to face as they deal with these multitude of records?
Yeah, I think that they have to there are so many things with it, right? They not only have all of their mobile devices, so you have SMS, you have the encrypted applications, which also are a complication, but then you also have, every other type of communication that can be on their phones. So I think that for a lot of the federal agencies or state and local agencies, they have to deal with so many different types of communication, and being able to retrieve that and get to those, those records are really difficult, right? And then they also have to be able to show those in a timely fashion for the FOIA requests. So I think they've got a difficult mission, but we can definitely help them with that.
So next, I'd like to ask, messaging apps like Signal, WhatsApp, Telegram, et cetera, are really gaining popularity in federal, state, and local governments, in part because CISA has recommended it as a more secure platform. How do these messaging apps complicate capturing communications, however, and also retrieving official agency communications?
We are one of few platforms that can actually capture that type of communication and archive that. So that's really good to know. But also, I think that there are complications with it, right? There's some risks, there's some benefits. The benefits are that they are secure, they're encrypted. But some of the risk is that you might not be able to get to those communications, those messages, because they could be deleted or they could disappear. Right. So I think that it's really important for people to know that we can help with that. We can give the transparency while also getting the security that they need.
And can you just briefly describe, so how does Smarsh do that?
Yeah, well, we have a capture capability that can actually just take the messages. So if you want to use WhatsApp, if you want to use Signal, we can send it through our encrypted line, and then it can go into your archive, which would be either FedRAMP certified if you're a federal agency, or if you need from a state and local level, you can actually put it into our archive where you can be able to retrieve that message really quickly. So we can take all the types of communication that you need, we can capture it, and if you can use our archive, we can use that as well in order for you to get that record back.
And talk to me a little bit about the Smarsh platform. For example, can you elaborate a little bit on the scope of the records and the communication record keeping that needs to be done by government agencies? And how do you help agencies meet NARA and FOIA requirements?
Yeah, so we can do it in a couple of different ways. We can use the Smarsh archiving platform where they can take all of the records, they can capture it, and they can retrieve it and use it in order to get to the public records requests. There's also another possibility to just capture and send it to their federally ramped or FedRAMP certified archives as well. So we can do two different ways. We can help them with both of the pieces, and we can help them with just capturing it. And we do over 100 different types of communication, from email to chat to social media to any mobile applications or SMS. So we can do all of it. We can put it all in one place for them, or we can also send it to them. So we're keeping, one of the things that we do is we acquire new companies or we acquire new technologies in order to, stay on top of whatever type of communication people want to use, like signal like WhatsApp, and then we can send that to our archive or we can send it to their archive. A way to think about that, right? A good example is a bus, right? So if you're a message, we'll take all your messages, we'll put them on a bus, and we'll send them to any location. One of the locations could be our Smarsh archive, or it could be to your other archiving solutions. So we're taking that message and we're taking it and we're sending it where you need to, so that way you can retrieve that message when necessary.
So I also understand Smarsh has been involved in the financial sector for a long time and has made growing investments in the public sector. What's behind the commitment around public sector communications?
Yeah, over the last few years, we've been in the public sector and we've been helping a lot of state and local agencies. We've seen it ramp up, right, with a lot of the things, whether the CISA guidelines or even more FOIA requests in general right now. And so what we've done is we've doubled down on the commitment. We've separated into another business unit. We've taken a lot of our focuses that we're still committed to our financial services, but we're also doubling down on some of the things that we're doing with the public sector. So we've created a bigger team to be able to help those that we know we can help, and that we've also doubled down on some of the other pieces with our products as well, to make sure that we're able to help the agencies do what they need to do in order to stay compliant.
Terrific. So maybe looking forward a little bit, how do you see this kind of technology evolving and how that will help agencies, particularly as the volume of data continues to scale?
Yeah, I think that, with AI, I think will be a big piece of it as well. I think that communication will continue to change, and we have no idea what applications will be, produced next year or, tomorrow for that, for all intents and purposes. So I think that what we're trying to do here at Smarsh is we're trying to stay in front of it. We're being innovative. We're looking at the next types of communications that people are going to want to use, and we're able to be there in front of it and be able to capture and send it to our archive or your archive.
So lastly, as we look ahead and we think about emerging trends in digital communications and data governance, that federal agencies really need to be aware of, how is Smarsh evolving to really meet those future challenges?
So what we're doing is we're making sure that we are there wherever anybody wants to communicate. So we're innovating any of the types of communications that people want to use in order to be able to capture those communications and be able to be there for their FOIA requests or their public records requests. Here at Smarsh, we're really invested in preserving and protecting the communications that people need in order to be able to work effectively. They don't have to choose between transparency and security with Smarsh.
Well, Lanika Mamac, thank you so much for joining us here at Scoop News Group and sharing some of your perspectives about the art of the possible with preserving and capturing, archiving, and retrieving the important communications at government agencies.
Well, thanks for having me, and we're here to support in any type of way from all of the agencies, whether they need to communicate with their mobile messages, to the email, or even social media. So thanks for having me.
Oh, terrific. Thank you.
Thank you.